1,432 years. So the perennial questions that these scholars investigated, the perennial questions that Muslim civilization has investigated, these are the same perennial questions that we are faced with today. We want to know how to pray. We want to know how to fast. We want to know how to pay zakat. We want to know how to fulfill our responsibility to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life. What do we do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, He says, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those who know well if you know not. If we don't know, we should ask those who know. If we don't know, we should ask the experts. And these people, these great scholars who have existed in huge numbers throughout Islamic history, these are the experts, these are the ones who know. These great scholars organized themselves into schools. How did these schools develop? To understand the answer to this question, we'll begin with the companions who learned their religion directly from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The companions scattered and spread across the Islamic world, and they had many students, and their students had many students, and their students had many students, until Muslim civilization reached a time when Islamic law was in need of codification. It was in need of being formalized because the Muslim state expanded many countries all across the world. There were many different people and there were many different new questions regarding the details of our religion that were being asked. During this period, students and scholars who had inherited knowledge from the companions through their students, they solved these questions, and a number of them were recognized during their times as being great and brilliant and pious and admirable. And these scholars included the four founders or the four eponyms of the four schools, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and Ahmad, but they also included other great scholars such as Abu Thawr, such as Imam al-Tabari, such as many others. They weren't just four, there were many more. Now, these great scholars were recognized as authorities in their times, and they had students. So Abu Hanifa, for example, had students, and his students, they passed down their knowledge to their students, who passed down to their students, and they were great scholars. So as knowledge was transmitted from Abu Hanifa, it went through many other scholars, went through many other great scholars who checked his work, who refined his work, who verified his work, who improved his work, who corrected his work. And this process of inheriting the knowledge, the fiqh, the detailed knowledge of religion from the Imam Abu Hanifa continues down to this day. To this day, we have students of the students of the students of the students of Imam Abu Hanifa, and the students and pupils of the Hanafi school, they adhere to a certain set of unified principles which makes them all Hanafi. They belong to the Hanafi school, which is one of the schools of Islamic law. Similarly, Imam Malik ibn Anas, the scholar of Medina, he had students who had students who had students, and they were great scholars, very great scholars, who checked his work, refined his work, verified his work, improved his work, corrected his work. And this process of transmitting the knowledge of Imam Malik has continued down to our times. The same can be said of Imam al-Shafi'i, and the same can be said of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And this is why we have these four schools today. Today, we can go and learn the answers to these perennial questions by raising our questions to a school, to a school that spans over a millennium of cooperative effort across scholars, across the times, scholars who are experts in hadith, scholars who are experts in tafsir, scholars who are experts in the Arabic language, scholars who are experts in every aspect of Islamic learning. They all affiliated themselves with one of these four schools, learned from them, and then took the schools into the next generation. Other scholars, apart from these four imams, such as Abu Thawr, they had students, but then their knowledge became neglected. And students, they stopped transmitting his knowledge, and they gathered and they congregated instead around other schools. And the same can be said of Imam al-Tabari, and the same can be said of a great many other great imams who were great in their knowledge, but their students did not continue to develop their school. And so their schools died out. From this, we can now return to our definition of school, and we can now understand what is meant when we define the word school as a body of scholars and pupils adhering to a certain set of principles or methods. Let's return to the question with which we began this lesson. What is a school of Islamic law? What is a school of Islamic law? In brief, a school of Islamic law is reliable scholarship. The Hanafi school of Islamic law represents the cooperative efforts of over 1,000 years of top-notch scholars checking and rechecking and examining and expanding and applying the teachings, the school of Imam Abu Hanifa. The Shafi'i school represents over a millennium of top-notch scholars, experts in all of the disciplines of Islamic law, checking and updating and applying the school of Imam al-Shafi'i. And the same is said of the Maliki and Hanbali schools. So if today we go and we try to answer one of the perennial questions regarding prayer, fasting, charity, Hajj, and we go to any one of the four schools, whether it be the Hanafi school, the Maliki school, the Shafi'i school, or the Hanbali school, we will be asking experts. We will be asking reliable scholarship. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والله سبحانه وتعالى أعلم وهو حسبنا ونعم الوكيل.